everyone, welcome to my channel about writing stuff. My name's Camille and today we're talking about endings. So TC Freuden here on YouTube reminded me that I forgot to do a video on endings. Oops. So we're gonna do that now. But I want to preface this video by saying that I think I didn't do a video on endings because endings have more to do with the setup of your story. There are several different types of endings. I'm not talking necessarily about like a twist ending or a surprise ending, but it's no matter how you end your story, it's all contingent upon literally everything else. The try-fail cycles, character interactions, character conflict, tension, foreshadowing, all this kind of stuff. But the best tool that I have learned from the Lord of Teaching Writing, Brandon Sanderson, is that all endings should be surprising yet inevitable. And that's what I mean by the setup. You should have written your story in a way that your ending is surprising yet inevitable. That is the most satisfying ending. You know, like, for example, if you were to have read the whole of Lord of the Rings and gotten to the ending and then just frickin' Tolkien comes in and is like, everybody dies, that would be so unsatisfying because the promise in the story and all of the try-fail cycles and the foreshadowing and all this stuff told us that Frodo would get the ring into the Fire of Mordor. And yet the ending was surprising because at the very end, you know, he turns around and he's like, nope, I'm keeping this bitch. And then Sam comes in because he's the real hero of Lord of the Rings. I'm telling you that straight up. Sam comes in and is like, nope. So, yeah, your endings need to be surprising yet inevitable. And it's really all about the setup. So what I want to talk about for the rest of this video is where is the end? I did the beginnings video. It's begin at the beginning. So this is going to be end at the end of your story. A problem that some people have and that I have been guilty of in the past is, you know, you get to the climax and your protagonist either fails or succeeds. And then I tended to go into like this, where are they now? Like long chapter or epilogue. Because as an author, you have pretty much dragged these characters through like hell and back and just thrown a bunch of shit at them. So you really want to tie up their endings, especially if you're writing a standalone. It's one of those things where I'm never going to see this character again. I'm never going to be able to write from this character's POV again, and I'm going to miss them. So you really want to give them like a solid, intense ending. The problem with this is that you start going into like, this is its own story mode when it's just the ending. So quick tips, quick video. After you write your climax and all things are figured out, like one chapter. Yeah, like one chapter or one epilogue of how are these characters dealing now that they've been through all of this shit. More important, how are these characters different? If you had, you know, a shy, like weak character at the beginning of your story and then they killed a bunch of demons, they're not going to be shy and weak at the end of the story. They're going to have changed. And that's one of the most, you know, intense things about reading a story. One of the things that, you know, that's what we as readers relate to. We relate to the characters because they are people. So we want to see how the character has grown or devolved if you're writing one of those types of stories. But yeah, so surprising yet inevitable, how have the characters changed? Where are they now? Keep that section short. And some other quick things, you know, not every ending needs to be a twist ending. If you can do it right, like in Ender's Game, or if you can do that kind of like shocking surprise thing, like I said in Lord of the Rings, where Frodo turns around at the end, but then Sam saves the day, do it. If you can do it well, that's very important. Do it if you can do it well. But for the most part, it's just, you know, romance. The two lovebirds get together. Perfectly okay. I mean, that's every single Jane Austen novel, and they're all really good. It's the two people get together, happily ever after. And it's not necessarily surprising, but it is inevitable. The way you make it surprising, and I'm getting back into this, I'm getting back into the, it's about how you set it up. But the way you make like a romance ending surprising is you have that like belly of the whale situation really bad. It's that very low point for your character before the climax. It is that point in the story where the reader goes, they're never going to get together. How can she forgive him after this? How could he ever want to be with her after what she did? You have that moment, and then the climax, something happens, and then the ending is, okay, they're together. Bravo. And it's, you know, a big tip or resource, and it really just comes down to reading in the genre that you're writing, but understand genre tropes, you know, understand how these stories are supposed to end. Because if you wrote this romance novel and then you get to the end and like, I was going to say they both die, but that's totally Romeo and Juliet. But like if they end up not getting together, then that's completely unsatisfying. And that is not how that story should have ended unless you set it up and foreshadow it properly. But if you're writing just, you know, run-of-the-mill, commercial, typical romance story, they need to get together at the end, because if they don't, the reader's just going to throw your book across the room and be like, what the fuck, this is, you're not keeping your promises, you are not, you know, being honest with the reader. You're trying to pull the wool over their eyes, and it's just going to piss them off, because if you are writing a commercial romance novel, the reader's going to pick that book up expecting for them to get together at the end, and if they don't, they're going to be pissed. And angry readers are violent, internet stalking people. I would know. I'm among them. Anyways, so, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of tips on ending. That's pretty much it. If you don't need a twist ending, if you really want to know what the inevitable aspect or the inevitable ending aspect of your story is, read widely in your genre. And if you want it to be surprising, it's all about the setup. There's not anything else I can say about that. So, yeah, no resource today, besides reading books. That is always my resource. If I don't have a resource, I'm just like, go read some books. So go read some books. Anyways, I will see you guys next week. But for now, as always, you should be writing stuff.